Timmy was a cheerful boy with a wild imagination and a heart full of dreams. He loved spending time outdoors, exploring nature, and laughing with his friends. But what brought him the most joy was his loyal dog, Max. Max was a golden retriever with a shiny coat and gentle eyes. He was not just any pet. He was Timmy's best friend, protector, and partner in adventure. From the moment Timmy's parents brought Max home as a puppy, the two were inseparable. Timmy would often take Max to the backyard, where they would play fetch for hours. They had their own games that only they understood. Timmy would pretend to be an explorer in a jungle, while Max would bark happily as if he were the mighty guardian of this imagined world. Every morning before school, Timmy would rush to feed Max, and in return, Max would give him happy barks and wag his tail wildly. This daily routine became a cherished ritual that set a positive tone for the day. If you enjoy this video, please like the video and subscribe for more, and tell me where you are watching from today. I always find it awesome to see where all my viewers are watching from. Let's get back to the video. After school, they reunited with joy. It was like they had both been waiting all day for this moment. They explored nearby woods together, Timmy riding his bike while Max ran alongside him, tongue out and tail wagging. Each tree became part of their adventure. Each path led to new discoveries, and every night brought stories of bravery and fun, narrated by Timmy at the dinner table. One sunny Saturday morning, Timmy woke up with excitement bubbling inside him. Today would be special. His parents had planned a trip to Riverdale Park, one of their favorite places. The park was vast and green, filled with tall trees and colorful flowers. There were playgrounds ringing with laughter and fields perfect for running and playing. As soon as they arrived at the park, Timmy's eyes sparkled with glee. He grabbed Max's leash, and together they dashed out of the car. The sweet smell of fresh grass filled the air as they rushed to join their friends who were already playing tag near the swings. Timmy threw sticks for Max to fetch. The dog sprinted after them with pure joy. It seemed that everyone could see how special their bond was. It was as if Max had a special radar that centered on his best friend's happiness. As they played hide-and-seek among the trees or raced each other through fields, it felt like nothing could break their connection. Timmy felt safe with Max by his side. He knew that no matter what happened during their adventures, Max was always there to watch over him. Yet little did they know that this perfect day would take an unexpected turn. As Timmy attempted to climb higher into a sturdy tree that everyone dared each other to scale, the world around them began to shift. In moments filled with laughter and adventure, things could change just like that. But for now, laughter echoed through Riverdale Park as Timmy and Max continued their joyful play. As Timmy reached for the next branch, his heart raced with excitement. He could hear his friends cheering him on from below, urging him to climb higher. "Come on, Timmy, you can do it!" they shouted. With each step up, he felt like a brave explorer scaling the highest mountain. Max, ever attentive, sat at the base of the tree, watching closely and wagging his tail as if cheering for his best friend. But just as Timmy was about to grab a sturdy limb above him, he lost his footing. Time seemed to slow down as he felt himself slipping. With a sudden thud, he fell to the ground below. A gasp erupted from his friends as they rushed towards him. Max immediately sprang into action, barking loudly and running around in circles, clearly anxious about what had just happened. Timmy lay on the grass, feeling stunned and breathless. He tried to move, but pain shot through his leg. His friends surrounded him, their faces etched with concern. "Are you okay, Timmy?" one of them asked, kneeling beside him. But all he could think about was Max's worried expressions and how the dog wouldn't stop pacing back and forth. Max, Timmy managed to say through gritted teeth as he tried to sit up. But that only made the pain worse. The moment Max heard Timmy's voice, he rushed closer and nudged his nose against Timmy's side, seemingly trying to comfort him. It warmed Timmy's heart despite the pain. He knew Max would always be there. Within moments, parents and park staff began to gather around as they noticed the commotion. Someone called for an ambulance, while another adult knelt next to Timmy to check if he was all right. "Stay still," she said gently. "Help is on the way." Max stood protectively over Timmy as paramedics arrived and carefully assessed the situation. They moved swiftly but kindly, trying to calm both Timmy and his worried friends. But every time someone got close, Max barked sharply as if warning them not to touch his boy. "Hey there," one of the paramedics said softly to Max, kneeling down with open hands to show he meant no harm. "I promise we're here to help." But even with that reassurance, Max growled lowly, refusing to back down from his protective stance. Timmy watched this unfold, feeling a mix of warmth from Max's loyalty and worry because he couldn't move without pain shooting through him. "It's okay, boy," he whispered softly to Max while trying to reach out a hand. Despite the fear swirling in his mind, he wanted Max to know he was all right. Finally, after what felt like ages, but was really just a few minutes, the paramedics managed to calm both Timmy and Max enough so they could assess Timmy's injuries properly without further anxiety. They gently lifted him onto a stretcher while comforting Max at the same time. As they wheeled him towards the ambulance, Timmy watched helplessly as Max jumped beside them with a determined look in his eyes, a look that said no matter what happens next, he wouldn't leave his side. Little did anyone know that this bond would soon reveal something much deeper than anyone expected. Max's devotion to Timmy was evident to everyone around as the paramedics worked swiftly. Despite their efforts to reassure him, Max remained on high alert, pacing back and forth, his golden furs shimmering under the afternoon sun. Each time someone approached Timmy, Max would bark sharply, not in anger, but with a protectiveness that spoke volumes. It was clear he understood the importance of looking after his human companion. "Don't worry, buddy," one of the paramedics said gently, kneeling close to Max with hands outstretched in a calming gesture. "We're here to help your friend." Although the paramedic's voice was soft and soothing, Max wouldn't let down his guard. He kept his eyes fixed on Timmy, who lay on the stretcher, feeling vulnerable and scared. Timmy could see Max's worried face, and despite the throbbing pain in his leg, a wave of warmth spread through him. "It's okay, Max," he whispered with a smile despite his discomfort. "I'm going to be all right." Hearing Timmy's voice seemed to give Max some comfort. He cautiously approached Timmy's side again and nudged his nose against Timmy's hand, hoping for a gentle reassurance that everything would be okay. As the paramedics finally secured Timmy onto the stretcher, Max began to grow restless. He could feel something wasn't right. Not only was Timmy hurt, but he sensed an unease in the air that seemed to swirl around them. The bond they shared transcended simple friendship. It was almost as if they could communicate without words. The team of paramedics worked hard to keep both Timmy and Max calm while preparing for their trip to the hospital. One young medic named Sarah leaned over and quietly said to Timmy, "Your dog is so loyal. He really cares about you." Hearing that made Timmy feel even more grateful for having such an incredible friend at his side. As they wheeled him towards the ambulance, Max attempted to follow, but was gently held back by one of the other medics. "He can't go in there," she said softly to him. But that didn't sit well with either Max or Timmy. From within the ambulance, Timmy watched helplessly as Max barked insistently. His heart raced with worry about being separated from his best friend. Once they arrived at the hospital, Timmy was taken inside, while one of the staff tried to coax Max away from the entrance. "You can't come in here either," she explained, but Max refused to budge. He planted himself firmly at the door like a sentry guarding its post. Every time someone approached him with a calming voice or a treat, he simply looked back toward where he last saw Timmy. Inside the emergency room, doctors sprang into action. The bright lights and busy sounds overwhelmed Timmy, making him feel small and anxious without Max by his side. Thoughts raced through his mind. Would he be okay? Why wouldn't they let Max come in? It felt like at that moment, more than ever, he needed his faithful friend close by. Unbeknownst to anyone present, Timmy's pain echoed through their connection. It was apparent that something deeper connected them than just an ordinary pet-owner relationship. As soon as a doctor entered the room with urgent news about Timmy's condition and lifted up her tablet display to review notes, she would soon discover that there was more going on than met the eye. Not just for Timmy, but also for loyal Max, waiting anxiously outside. As the ambulance arrived at the hospital, the sirens blared in a way that made everything feel more intense. Timmy lay on the stretcher, feeling overwhelmed and anxious. The familiar sights of the park were replaced by bright hospital lights and a flurry of medical staff who rushed to help. Once inside, Timmy was quickly wheeled through long hallways filled with busy nurses and doctors. The sounds echoed around him, beeping machines, rolling carts, and voices discussing patient care. But despite the chaos, Timmy's focus remained on Max, who was left outside. He could hear Max barking from the entrance, his voice sharp with concern and desperation. "Max, it's okay," Timmy called out, trying to soothe both himself and his loyal dog. But his voice felt small against the bustling atmosphere of the emergency room. The nurses moved swiftly, checking Timmy's vitals and asking him questions about how he felt. "Does it hurt here?" one asked, gently pressing on his leg where he had fallen. Timmy winced, but nodded. He could feel every bump and bruise, each one a reminder of the fall. Meanwhile, Max's barking grew louder, as if he could sense Timmy's distress from afar. His heart raced as he imagined Max waiting just beyond the door, likely worried and pacing anxiously. If only there was a way to reassure him. The doctors soon gathered around Timmy, assessing his injury with focused intensity. A kind doctor with glasses crouched down to Timmy's eye level. "You're doing great, Timmy. We're going to take good care of you," she said softly, her eyes filled with warmth. Suddenly, a nurse approached carrying an armful of supplies. "We need to get some x-rays to see how serious your injury is," she explained as she prepared to wheel him towards the imaging room. But even in this moment of urgency, all Timmy could think about was Max. "Can't my dog come with me?" he asked desperately, hoping they would make an exception for his best friend. "He's really worried about me." The nurse smiled sympathetically, but shook her head gently. "I know it's hard, but he can't be in there right now. Just a little longer, and you'll be reunited." With a heavy heart, Timmy was taken away from the hustle and bustle of the emergency room into a quieter space for the x-ray. As they placed him carefully in position for the scan, Timmy closed his eyes tightly and took a deep breath. He felt scared without Max by his side, but clung to the thought that soon they would be together again. While Timmy was undergoing testing, Max remained outside, his instincts telling him that something important was happening behind those doors. The staff tried to coax him away from the entrance, offering treats and gentle pats on the head. but nothing could distract him from wanting to be close to Timmy. Finally, after a tense few moments that felt like forever to both Timmy and Max, the doctors examined the X-rays and prepared for what came next. Though separated by walls, it seemed their connection transcended any distance. Timmy could almost feel Max's presence, urging him to stay strong. As they brought Timmy back into the emergency room for further assessment, he could already see a familiar golden figure waiting just outside. The sight lifted his spirit tremendously. Little did they both know that this experience would uncover something unexpected about their bond that neither of them could imagine yet. As Timmy was wheeled back into the emergency room, he felt a mix of anxiety and hope. The bright lights overhead buzzed with energy, but all he wanted was to see Max again. The comforting weight of his dog's presence was missing, leaving him feeling small and vulnerable in the bustling hospital environment. The medical team quickly gathered around him, their faces serious yet compassionate. "All right, Timmy," said the doctor with glasses who had spoken to him earlier. "We need to check your leg more closely to find out what's going on." She gestured for a nurse to bring over some tools, while another nurse prepared a nearby examination table. Timmy nodded, but couldn't shake the unease building inside him. As they began their examination, he felt a wave of discomfort wash over him. Not just from his injury, but from the thought of Max waiting outside. "Can I have my dog in here?" he asked once more, desperation creeping into his voice. "He makes me feel better." The doctor looked thoughtful for a moment, but shook her head gently. "I understand how much comfort he brings you, but we need to keep this space clear for now. We'll take care of you, I promise." Timmy felt tears pricking at the corners of his eyes as fear washed over him again. He wanted to be brave, but felt alone without Max there to support him. "Please," he whispered, wishing desperately that they would change their minds. As the nurses started checking his leg, Timmy squirmed at the sensations, the pressure, the poking, and continued to glance toward the door, hoping for a glimpse of Max. He could still hear his barking echoing faintly through the walls. It seemed like Max's barks were filled with urgency and worry. Meanwhile, outside in the waiting area, Max was becoming increasingly restless. The staff had tried various tactics to distract him, offering treats and playing with toys. But nothing seemed to calm him down. He kept nudging people with his nose and looking back toward the entrance as if sensing Timmy's distress. Back inside the examination room, Timmy was doing his best to answer all their questions while enduring uncomfortable prodding from multiple angles. Each time someone touched his leg or asked about pain levels, Max's distant barks echoed in his mind like a drumbeat, urging him to stay strong. "Okay, let's get some x-rays done," one of the nurses said after finishing her part of the examination. They carefully prepared Timmy for yet another procedure that would take him away from any familiar presence, Max included. As they wheeled him toward the imaging room, Timmy's heart raced. He wished more than anything that he could have Max by his side just for reassurance during these moments filled with uncertainty. Hearing that familiar bark outside made it clear how much they relied on each other, even when separated by walls. Once again laid flat on a table beneath bright lights designed for imaging rather than comfort, Timmy closed his eyes tightly against both fear and frustration. He focused on breathing deeply while imagining Max waiting for him just outside those doors, their bond stronger than any separation could attempt to weaken. While they took images of his leg and assessed whether there were any fractures or underlying issues, both boy and dog remained connected by an invisible thread of loyalty and love that transcended their current circumstances. A bond stronger than either understood at that moment. As Timmy lay on the cold examination table, He felt both fear and frustration swirling within him. The bright overhead lights felt almost blinding. But it was the absence of Max that truly made him uneasy. He could still hear distant barking echoing through the hallways, a sound filled with urgency that mirrored his own worries. Max had always been there for him, and now the separation felt unbearable. Meanwhile, outside the hospital, Max remained in a heightened state of anxiety. After what felt like an eternity of waiting, a kind nurse came out to check on him. She knelt beside him and offered a treat, but Max barely noticed. All he wanted was to be with Timmy. It was as if he could feel Timmy's pain from afar, and no distraction would be enough to ease his concern. Inside the examination room, the doctors finished reviewing the x-rays they had taken of Timmy's leg. With focused expressions, they began discussing their findings among themselves. One doctor looked particularly concerned as she pointed out something on the screen to her colleagues. "Look at this area," she said, her voice low but urgent. "There seems to be more than just a fracture here." Timmy watched their serious expressions and felt a knot tightening in his stomach. "What is it?" he asked softly, hoping for reassurance. The doctor turned toward him with a gentle smile but serious eyes. "We need to run some more tests, but we've noticed something unusual that we want to check. We'll make sure you're taken care of." Just then, one of the nurses entered with a clipboard in hand and paused at the door. "Doctor, I think you should see this." She glanced down at her notes before continuing. "The dog outside, Max. He's been acting quite unusual since Timmy arrived. He won't leave the entrance and seems very agitated. Could there be more going on here?" As if on cue, they all heard Max barking again, louder this time, filled with a new kind of urgency that resonated through the walls. It struck the doctor like a lightning bolt. Something clicked in her mind. "Could it be?" she murmured thoughtfully. A realization washed over her as she turned back toward Timmy. "Timmy," she said gently, "has Max ever reacted strongly when something was wrong with you?" Timmy paused for a moment to recall past experiences. "Once, when I had a fever, Max wouldn't leave my side," he admitted slowly. "He stayed right next to me all night." The doctor's expression shifted to one of understanding as she exchanged concerned glances with her team. "It's possible that Max has sensed something deeper, a medical condition we might not have noticed yet," she said decisively. "We need to find out if there's an underlying issue." Driven by instinct and their unique bond, Max continued barking outside, almost as if he were trying to communicate with them about Timmy's condition. His loyalty had always been unwavering. Perhaps it was now guiding them toward something crucial. Feeling hopeful yet apprehensive about what this revelation could mean, Timmy settled back against the examination table while the doctors prepared for more tests. He couldn't help but think about how their connection extended beyond mere companionship. It was as though Max knew him better than anyone else ever could. As they gathered information about both Timmy's health and Max's unusual behavior, it became clear that their bond held the key to uncovering a truth neither had anticipated. A truth that would ultimately reveal just how intertwined their lives truly were. As the doctors prepared to run further tests on Timmy, their attention shifted to Max's anxious behavior outside. The barking had taken on an urgent tone, and it seemed to resonate through the hospital walls, echoing Timmy's own feelings of discomfort. The medical staff exchanged glances, realizing that Max's instinctual reactions could be more than just protective. They might be tied to something vital regarding Timmy's health. Inside the examination room, Timmy lay quietly, his heart racing with each passing moment. He was scared and unsure of what would happen next. Would he be okay? As he waited for answers, thoughts of Max kept swirling in his mind. He imagined how his loyal dog must feel, waiting and worrying just outside the door. Timmy could almost picture Max pacing back and forth, his tail wagging nervously as he listened for any hint of bad news. Meanwhile, back outside, a small crowd had gathered around Max. Hospital staff members observed him closely as he continued to bark insistently and tug at his leash, desperate to get to Timmy. One veterinarian who was called in to help approached Max calmly, kneeling down at eye level. "Hey there, buddy," she said gently. "You don't need to worry so much. Your boy is okay." But Max wouldn't settle down. His eyes darted toward the doors, fixated on them like a sentinel guarding his post. The vet nodded knowingly, recognizing that dogs often pick up on their owner's emotions and physical sensations in ways humans cannot comprehend. "It seems like he senses something," she said aloud to the gathering staff. "Animals have an incredible ability to understand and respond to their humans' feelings." Back inside, as the medical staff conducted more examinations, they began discussing how a variety of conditions can cause changes in behavior in both children and their pets. "It makes sense," one doctor noted thoughtfully. "If Timmy is experiencing pain or discomfort beyond what we can see, Max might be reacting to that through some sort of instinct." Finally, as they prepared to take blood tests and conduct further imaging, the team formed a plan not only for Timmy, but also on how they could address Max's needs as well. The doctors decided they would allow Max into the examination room once it was safe for Timmy to have him close again. The vet who had been observing Max rushed inside with a gentle determination. "We need to let them be together for a moment. It could provide comfort for both." As she spoke with the doctors, she described how Max's unwavering loyalty could ease Timmy's anxiety and even help calm any distress that might reveal itself during the tests. The staff quickly agreed and prepared for the reunion. They understood that sometimes the bond between a child and their pet goes beyond companionship. It can serve as a comforting anchor in chaotic situations. While waiting for Max to enter, Timmy's heart fluttered with excitement mixed with apprehension. He wanted Max by his side more than anything. He felt certain that seeing his dog would help him feel stronger during whatever was about to happen. When the doors opened and Max bounded into the room, something magical occurred. Instantly, all of Timmy's fear melted away as Max rushed to him with an excited bark, nuzzling against him as if sensing his boy's unease had lifted just by being together again. In that moment of joyful reunion, both boy and dog understood that they were more than just best friends. They were partners in this journey of life, supporting each other through thick and thin. With renewed strength from their connection, Timmy lay ready for whatever tests awaited him, knowing that with Max at his side, he could face anything that came their way. With Max by his side, Timmy felt a rush of relief wash over him. The comforting presence of his loyal dog made the sterile environment of the hospital feel a little less daunting. As he settled in, the doctors gathered around, their expressions serious yet compassionate. They were ready to discuss the treatment plan for Timmy's injuries and address the deeper health issues that had come to light. "Timmy," began the lead physician, Dr. Collins, "we performed several tests and discovered that while you do have a fracture in your leg, there's more than that going on." She paused to gauge Timmy's reaction. "We found something unusual that we want to address right away." Timmy's heart raced at the thought of needing more treatment, but felt reassured by Max gently nuzzling against him. "What does that mean?" he asked softly. Dr. Collins took a deep breath, carefully explaining, "We've noticed some swelling and inflammation around your leg that seems to be causing additional pain. We need to ensure it's not related to an underlying condition." She glanced at Max, who seemed deeply attuned to Timmy's emotions. "Your dog has been a big help in guiding us to this point." The team of doctors began outlining their plan for treatment. "First, we will administer medication to help reduce inflammation and manage the pain," Dr. Collins continued. "Then we'll keep you here for observation and possibly run more tests tomorrow to ensure everything is healing properly." "Can Max stay with me?" Timmy blurted out, his eyes wide with hope. The doctors had already seen how much comfort Max provided. Dr. Collins smiled warmly. "Of course, it's important for both of you to have each other during this time." She motioned for one of the nurses to prepare a space for Max on the bed beside Timmy. Feeling grateful, Timmy nodded as he watched the nurse set up a soft blanket for Max to lie on. Soon, Max was cuddled close to Timmy, grounding him in a way only his loyal companion could. As the doctors proceeded with their treatment plan, they carefully monitored both Timmy's reactions and Max's behavior, noting how in sync they seemed. Dr. Collins even commented to her team, "Animals really do have a unique ability to sense what we're feeling." After administering the anti-inflammatory medication, Timmy began to feel relief from some of the throbbing pain. As he lay back against his pillows, with Max snuggled beside him, it felt as though a wave of calm washed over him, reinforcing their bond even further. The medical team informed Timmy that they would continue checking on him regularly throughout the night and that he would have another set of tests in the morning. They wanted to ensure his recovery was on track before making any further decisions about his care. In the quiet moments between visits from staff, Timmy whispered softly to Max about the adventures they would go on once he was better. The park trips, bike rides, and long days filled with laughter and play. It was a way not only to soothe himself, but also to affirm the strength of their friendship. As night fell over the hospital, Timmy realized that despite everything happening around them, he felt safer and stronger with Max by his side. They had faced challenges before together, but this moment underscored how much they truly supported each other, not just as boy and dog, but as partners in life's journey. With thoughts of a brighter tomorrow swirling in his mind and Max keeping close watch, Timmy closed his eyes, knowing that soon enough they would be back together in their world of adventures once again. The days rolled on as Timmy settled into a routine at the hospital, with Max remaining his steadfast companion through every procedure and checkup. After receiving treatment for his leg injury and the inflammation that had been discovered, Timmy began to feel a sense of determination growing within him. With Max by his side, he was ready to take on the recovery journey ahead. Every morning brought a new opportunity to improve. The medical staff greeted Timmy with bright smiles, encouraging him during physical therapy sessions. At first, moving his leg felt challenging, but with Max wagging his tail nearby, Timmy drew strength from their bond. "Come on, buddy, we've got this," he would say as he tried to flex his leg and lift it off the bed. Max seemed to understand the importance of these moments. He would sit patiently beside the bed, looking up at Timmy with eyes full of love and encouragement. Whenever Timmy succeeded, even if it was just a small movement, Max would bark happily and wag his tail, celebrating every little victory together. During one particular therapy session, Timmy's physical therapist encouraged him to stand up with assistance. "You're ready for this, Timmy," she smiled. "Just take it slow." Max stood right next to him, offering silent support as Timmy carefully rose to his feet using the walker. Though he swayed unsteadily at first, the reassuring weight of Max leaning against his leg provided extra balance, With each passing day, Timmy gained more confidence in his ability to move around. The doctors noted significant improvement in both his physical condition and overall spirit, which they attributed not only to medical care, but also to the unwavering presence of his beloved dog. As Timmy progressed, thoughts of outdoor adventures began bubbling back up in his mind. He could almost feel the wind in his hair and hear the laughter of friends at Riverdale Park. He daydreamed about running freely with Max through fields of flowers or taking him on bike rides along their favorite trails. Each positive thought fueled his motivation. One afternoon, as they sat together in the hospital room after a successful day of therapy, Timmy whispered to Max, "I promise we'll go on an adventure soon. Just you wait." Max rested his head on Timmy's lap, as if reassuring him that he would be there every step of the way. Eventually, after several weeks of hard work and dedication to his recovery plan, Timmy received the news he had been hoping for. He was cleared for discharge. The doctors explained that while he still needed to continue physical therapy outpatient, they were confident in his ability to heal fully. Timmy could hardly contain his excitement upon hearing this good news. "Can Max come home with me?" he asked eagerly. The doctors exchanged smiles and nodded affirmatively. "Of course. He's been an essential part of your recovery." With Max trotting happily beside him as they exited the hospital doors for the last time, Timmy felt lighter than air. They stepped into the sunlight together, a new beginning waiting just for them. Once back home, their adventures resumed right away. Whether it was playing fetch in the backyard or venturing out for short walks around the neighborhood, each moment spent together reinforced their bond. As they explored their surroundings anew, it was clear that this journey had deepened their connection even further. Timmy knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, be it obstacles in recovery or future adventures, he and Max would face them together as a true team, with unwavering loyalty and love guiding them forward. They were ready for whatever came next on their path of friendship and adventure. As Timmy and Max stepped back into their home, a wave of warmth and familiarity enveloped them. The sun poured through the windows, casting golden rays that danced across the living room floor. Timmy felt a surge of happiness as he looked around at the place filled with laughter, memories, and all the adventures they had shared before his fall. He knew he was home, and with Max by his side, everything felt right again. "Ready for our first adventure back?" Timmy asked excitedly, ruffling Max's fur affectionately. Max wagged his tail vigorously, as if to say, "Let's go!" They both had been cooped up for too long, and now it was time to reclaim their joy together. Their first stop was the backyard. As they stepped outside, Timmy breathed in the fresh air, feeling it invigorate his lungs. The familiar sounds of birds chirping and leaves rustling filled him with a sense of peace. Max darted ahead, his golden coat glistening in the sunlight as he dashed after a butterfly flitting about in the garden. Timmy laughed heartily, taking careful steps across the grass as he watched Max chase after the butterfly. He couldn't help but admire how spirited his dog was. It reminded him of their countless adventures in the park, running through open fields or playing fetch by the riverbank. "All right, Max," Timmy called out as he picked up a stick nearby. "Let's play fetch." His voice rang with excitement as he threw the stick across the yard. Max took off like a rocket, bounding after it with unmatched enthusiasm. The sight filled Timmy with warmth. Seeing Max so joyful lit a fire within him to keep moving forward in his own recovery. As they played their game, Timmy noticed something special blooming in his heart. A new appreciation for every little moment they shared. Each throw of the stick and each wag of Max's tail served as a reminder of how strong and unbreakable their bond truly was. After playing for some time, they settled down on the grass beneath the shade of a large oak tree. Timmy rested back on his elbows while Max curled up beside him. It was a perfect moment of tranquility, and together they gazed up at the fluffy clouds drifting across the azure sky. "Max," Timmy said softly, "I realized something during those weeks at the hospital. You were always there when I felt scared or alone. You make everything better." With that affirmation came a renewed commitment to support each other through whatever challenges might come their way in life. In that moment, Timmy made a promise to himself. He would continue working hard in physical therapy to regain full use of his leg and embrace every day as a new adventure waiting to unfold. With Max beside him, he felt capable of achieving anything. As evening approached, their adventure soon led them inside for dinner, but not without several planned trips back into the backyard for more playtime. Later that night, while snuggled up in bed with Max curled at his feet, Timmy reflected on all that had happened, the hurdles they faced together, and how they had emerged stronger than ever. With dreams of future escapades swirling in his mind, riding bikes down winding trails or exploring hidden paths in nearby woods, Timmy closed his eyes, feeling grateful for every moment he shared with his best friend. They had come through a challenging journey, hand in paw, and now awaited the beautiful horizon of new beginnings together. A testament to their enduring friendship, defined by loyalty and love.